About 3 or 4 years ago, we made a video where I used a Windows computer for the entire time. Back then, I was an avid Mac user for at least 3 years, and today I still am one. I was not convinced by that computer and that operating system to switch, but it's been a long time since we made that video. A lot of changes. Windows 10 is out, and I've got a super powered computer that I built myself. So is my experience going to be any different at all, and am I going to switch? We'll find out in this video. So this is going to be more of a vlog style video, just like the last one. I'm going to use a Windows computer for the entire day, use my entire workflow on this computer. Everything I do, video editing, emails, software development, I'm going to do all that right here and see how it goes. So let's get started. Now the computer I'm using is actually a desktop, not a laptop, and I've got a big screen, keyboard, a mouse. I built this computer myself. This is our gaming computer that I built. We made a whole playlist. I do a little bit of stuff on here, not a lot of gaming. Mainly Windows specific tasks, so maybe switching to Windows could be beneficial. But yeah, if you want to learn more about the computer itself, check out that video. I got an SSD in here, and it's super fast, incredibly responsive. So the performance is definitely way better than the last video, and it's about as responsive as my Mac. So really, it's down to operating system. So I just got ready and it's time to work. The first thing I usually do is I check my emails. Even though I do that on the phone, I usually reply on the computer. So now I guess I'm going to have to go ahead and import some email accounts onto here. I'm not a huge fan of the app, but first I need to find some screen recording software. There's so many great apps, and I can name a ton that are awesome on the Mac for recording your screen. And if you don't know what to search, just go for the App Store and just search screen recording. But not so easy on here. They do have a Windows Store, but they don't allow that sort of stuff, and there's really not a lot out there. But that's kind of the only way you can find good Windows apps, is just to try them. And, just test out a bunch of things and figure out what's going to work, because it's not that easy on Windows to find apps. Okay, so we got ScreenPresso going. But this is my email setup right here. Again, I'm not a big fan of this app, but I suppose it works decently, especially for IMAP email accounts. And here's a reason I don't like this app. Would you like to download the actual message? Yes, because I kind of want to view it. That's weird. And I'm not an archive person, I'm a delete person. So that's interesting. More recently, we've been converting over to the Adobe suite. So I switched from Final Cut Pro to Premiere Pro and from Compressor to Media Encoder. And luckily, Adobe is supported on both operating systems and is actually very similar, if not identical. So editing our videos and audio is something that I actually can do on here and is not going to be something that I would miss. So I don't have all of them installed, but I have Dreamweaver, Photoshop, Premiere Pro, Media Encoder, that sort of stuff. So I can edit videos off of here. Now, it took me a while to actually get this to work, but I was able to finally connect our server to this computer. So I could edit off of the network, which is awesome, but I'm a ways away from the server, so speeds aren't that great. So I'm not going to edit a video off of the server. I'll just do it locally, but for the most part, it should work. Now, video is not our only thing. We also do a lot of software development. And that is one thing I do a lot all throughout the day. And the biggest issue is there is no Xcode. You can't make Mac apps, you can't make iOS apps without a Mac. So right now I'm restricted to web development, which is fine because we just launched a new update of our Mac OS JotSpot version today. So I have to do some edits to our software website. And again, we do store all of that on our server. So if I actually go to our network drive, I am actually able to view our entire software website. And I can edit all that stuff right here. And this does connect to our server, for web hosting, and I can upload and everything right here. So experience for web development, especially with Dreamweaver, because that's what we use, is pretty good. But I can't develop anything for Apple's platforms without a Mac, so that's kind of a big issue. For the most part, a lot of apps that I do use are supported on Windows. I use Chrome, all the Adobe apps, but there's some that aren't. And especially the Apple ecosystem is what I'm always talking about, and that's true. You can't text from this computer. You can't unlock it with your watch. You can't use Apple Pay, not that I've ever used that on the Mac. But there's just a bunch of Apple-specific features, especially that integrate with the watch and the phone and the iPad, that are not present on this computer in Windows specifically. So there are a lot of apps like Chrome, but there are a lot of ones that I do rely on that are not. It is nice, though, that I do have multiple drives installed in this computer. I have actually 3 hard drives installed in here, 2 hard drives, 1 SSD. So I can kind of allocate storage to different locations. So like this is my operating system. Then I got all of my games, Steam games, and I got a backup drive. So 3 drives on 1 computer. That's a nice thing you haven't seen in a while. Speaking of games, it's actually kind of easy to get distracted from your work because you can play games on here. So I got a couple of games installed. So, you know, it may take away from work. Probably not. On top of the operating system, there's hardware things that are like not the same. The keyboard shortcuts and everything, there's less of them, and they're all in different places, especially with the control and the command key in different spots. It's just a little bit confusing, and like there's no way to close an app or quit an app, and just the keyboard shortcuts to flow around the operating system a lot easier. Is not as seamless. Also, there's just a lot of small things that help me out throughout the day that I don't really notice, but I do on here. I can't view my fan speeds or my temperature on the computer without opening up another app. You actually have to open up an app to be able to view the sort of stuff. There's nothing that can like be displayed at the bottom for you to be able to view and access all the time. It's just kind of all over here in this like this little tray down here, and it's like there is apps to view fans and temperatures and everything, but it's not readily available, and it's like hard to get to, if you know what I'm talking about. You're just not always visible right at the top of the screen. So yeah, but there are apps. It's just going to take a lot of searching around, and it's just not as seamless as a Mac. Now, the experience is actually much, much better than when I tried it previously. This is actually an operating system that I can stand, and I can actually happily use for the most part. So yeah, I'm okay with it. I'm not going to switch. And I like my Mac a lot better. But I think that it's largely not that bad. There's advantages and disadvantages to each. Some apps are only for Mac and some are only for Windows. And it's just really based on what you want to be using them for. For me, the apps that I use, my workflow is all optimized for Mac. And for that reason, that's why I'm not switching to Windows. But there you go. That's all for this video. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, leave a like and hit the subscribe button for more videos like this. This is Mark with iHelpTech128, and I'll see you in the next one.